So it's basically, it's a relaxed state of mind and body similar to daydreaming. You cannot do anything against your will. If I told you to go rob a bank for me,
Mhm.
okay, because I want to go to Scotland,
Mhm.
my favorite place,
Mhm.
and if you're not a criminal, okay, and you're in hypnosis, you'll just open up your eyes or you'll just pretend you're in hypnosis because it'll bring you up. Like,
Mhm.
what did you just say to me? Because it went against your beliefs and your values. Okay,
Ah,
you can't do
okay.
anything against your own beliefs and your values in hypnosis.
Pull up a chair, set the world aside. Let's find the truth we keep trying to hide.
Hey guys, welcome to Across the Table. I'm your host, James Finochio, and today we have with us Teri Martell, who is a certified hypnotherapist and instructor. Teri,
Mhm.
what is hypnosis?
It's what everybody asks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, hypnosis is a relaxed state of mind and body similar to daydreaming. So it's kind of like in order for you to get into in order for you to take a suggestion, okay, you have to be in a relaxed state of mind and body. You can't really take a suggestion in a cognitive sense, but you can in a way. So say that you're a smoker and uh, you if you tell yourself every single day for like 21 days, I always say 30. And so what happens and you say I'm a permanent non-smoker even though you're
Mhm.
sitting there smoking a cigarette. What happens is that you're self-hypnotizing yourself, and eventually your subconscious mind is going to take that as a reality. And all of a sudden, you're going to start realizing that you don't really have a craving like first thing in the morning or after a meal and things like that. So you start noticing that you're smoking less cigarettes than you normally do, to the point where um, you just don't want to anymore. It's like, oh man, I'm so disgusted with these things. And so it just gets to the point where you get down to that 5 cigarettes or something like that. And then finally you just go to a hypnotist and you say, I need to quit smoking. Okay.
Mhm.
I'm down to 5. I really think they're disgusting, things like that. Cause you programmed yourself to believe that just by saying, I know I am now a non-smoker. I no longer smoke cigarettes, things like that. And so as though you are already a non-smoker. And so what happens is that you get down to 5 cigarettes. One session could actually get you to smoking.
Interesting. And does that have to do with because I've been into neuroscience a lot lately.
Mhm.
Does that have to do with appealing to your mammalian brain and like creating habits,
Yes.
repetition?
Right. Yes. Because it's the repetition. You actually hypnotize yourself to be a smoker
Mm,
by
yeah.
every time that you do this with your pack.
Hmm.
Okay. Or you pull the cigarette out, or you put it up here to you, between your fingers and up to your mouth, and then you take that that deep breath,
Hmm.
which is the only breath you're really taking. The rest is
Mm,
burping. Okay.
right.
So the thing is that say that you quit smoking. This has happened actually
Mm,
to me. Some guy from Carlisle, okay, came down and I helped him quit smoking, and he quit for 10 years. And then
really.
all of a sudden I get a phone call from him, and he said, I started smoking again. And what it was is that he had a death in the family, and it really, he stopped breathing, you
Mm,
know, like, like the panic and
hmm.
stuff like that. And then the subconscious mind now is like a huge computer bank. Okay. And it wanted him to breathe.
Hmm.
Okay. So the first thing that it went back into the computer bank, and it remembered, oh, when he took that first puff of that cigarette, he actually took a deep breath.
Hmm.
So his subconscious mind gave him a big craving.
Hmm.
And then he got a cigarette. and he smoked it and got that big breath in. Okay,
Mhm.
so it could be that's how tricky your subconscious mind can be. So and then he came back to me and he quit right away again. It's just he had to realize why. Okay, he started smoking again.
Mhm.
So he didn't associate it until I told him.
Right. Well, that makes sense.
Hmm.
Because yeah, I've been learning a crazy amount about the human brain.
Yeah. And
And
a lot, and also you can hypnotize yourself through guided imagery.
mhm.
So and in some states you're not allowed to use the word hypnosis. You can use guided imagery.
Why
Okay.
wouldn't they let you use the word hypnosis?
Well, say in Germany, okay,
Okay.
they were all hypnotized back in those days and
Yeah.
created, through Hitler, and so basically they do not let you use
Mhm.
the word hypnosis. And Texas, I believe, is another state. So they just have mandates. You're allowed to say, like, you're allowed to say different words around the word hypnosis.
Right.
Okay. And it's usually because there's a stigma behind it because of those negative situations.
Mhm.
Just like anything in the world, it doesn't matter what it is. There is always good and there is always bad behind it. It just depends on the person behind it.
Oh yeah, it depends on their intent.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting because a lot of people are hypnotized during the day with the crap that we watch.
Right. I don't watch news.
I don't blame you. I quit too. I was
Yeah.
like, I just can't take it.
It attacks your nervous system.
Yeah.
You know?
I was surprised at how much better I feel when I'm not on social media. I limit it to 30 minutes a day
Yeah. Hmm.
and I don't watch the news very often.
Yeah. I'm not I might scan through Facebook for, like maybe a half an hour or something
Yeah.
like that throughout the day, but I don't look for anything. But because I'm a therapist, I'm always hearing from the outside,
Mhm.
from my clients and stuff, what's going on the outside. And
Mhm.
plus I have friends that are all into what's going on in the world. So I do hear about it, but my thing is as a holistic practitioner, because
Mhm.
even though I'm a hypnotherapist, I also am a holistic practitioner. So I'm always looking at a client physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually.
Mhm.
So, so I will say, I'll go into that holistic part of me and I'll say, well, only allow me to see the good out of this bad.
Mhm.
So when people talk about, the president, for instance, a lot of people hate the president. Like they're
Mhm.
so not into the guy. And I don't like him and I don't hate him,
Right.
but the thing is that I don't, um, I'm not a political person either. So I just say, so when somebody says something negative, I said, well, let's just see the good that comes out of this. And that's
Right.
what I've done in every election of a new president.
Mhm.
I just say, well, let me see what good comes out of this. And I usually see it.
Hmm.
There's usually something in there. And
Huh.
of course, we could stray off in this conversation and
Yeah.
I could tell you what the future is going to be, but the whole aspect of it, could we do that another time?
I know we want to stay on hypnosis because I know we talked about
Right.
that because last time we were all over the
Over the
place.
place. Yeah. Okay.
But like, I know what most people think of when they see hypnosis, and I'm not immune to this, but like when you see some like a comedian or stage hypnosis where you have somebody acting like an
Oh,
idiot,
yeah.
they
Yeah.
they make them do funny stuff or
Oh,
um
that's good that you brought
yeah.
that up. Yeah, because because as a certified instructor,
Mm,
okay, I actually my very first client was a magician.
that's interesting.
I know. And so he actually and so stage hypnosis and to tell you the truth, I had two stage hypnotists help me overcome a trauma
Mm,
while I was studying to become a hypnotist. And because stage hypnosis is all about the power of suggestion.
right.
Okay. So they're entertaining you at the same time as they're using suggestibility,
Hmm.
skits.
Hmm.
Okay, scripts. So they might start out with something similar, and I do this when I'm teaching hypnosis so that people can see how just the power of suggestion.
Hmm.
Okay, so without even hypnotizing them, I'll just tell them to close your eyes
Hmm.
and now visualize and imagine. put your left thumb up and your right hand out, palm up, and visualize and imagine that there is a balloon tied to your left thumb.
Mhm.
Okay. And now I'm putting a book into your right hand.
Mhm.
Okay. And then I'm going to put two more balloons on your left thumb, and then two more books on your right
Mhm.
hand. Okay. So, and then I'll tell them to open up their eyes.
Mhm.
Okay. And they'll notice that their hands are like this
Right.
because they took the power of suggestion. Okay. So that's kind of like stage hypnosis.
Mhm.
And then, so with the stage hypnotist, there's 6 stages of hypnosis. So with the stage hypnotist might have 20 people up there, and they usually go like this. Okay. Who wants to be hypnotized?
Yeah.
Okay. And what he's looking for in the crowd is, oh, pick me,
Mhm.
like the ones that are screaming and
Yeah.
pulling their hands out there because they want to be hypnotized.
Mhm.
Okay. But if somebody goes like this, he's not going to pick them.
Right. Because they are obviously not open.
They're afraid.
Yeah.
Okay. And so they'd be questioning everything that's going on. They'll be in their head too much.
Mhm.
But the other ones, and then they're always going to be looking out for that class clown too.
Right.
Because a lot of times you'll see these things in college, these stage hypnosis in colleges or high school. And so basically, so what happens is that, so he'll pick those, okay, about 20 of them. He'll have a partner. And what will happen is that they will do these suggestibility skits. Okay.
Mhm.
They might, that will go with each stage. The one that I just did was stage 1.
Mhm.
Okay. And then he might do another skit to get him deeper into hypnosis. Okay. And then, and see if they take the suggestions. And then they might, the hypnotist might, do another one that's to really deepen them to see if their heads fall,
Mhm.
things like that. And then he might say after that, now lift your head up and smile. And if they do, and if they don't, he'll just tap them on the shoulder or have somebody tap them on the shoulder and then have them leave the stage. But the neat thing about it is that you may end up with only like 3 to 5 people on stage clucking like a chicken and barking like a dog
Right.
because they got to the sixth the fifth and the 6 stages.
Mm.
Not everybody can.
Right.
Okay. So basically, so what happens is that, and in the meantime, they've got the the audience laughing, and so the audience is being hypnotized too. So that's stage hypnosis. Now, hypnotherapy or hypnosis itself, okay,
Mhm.
is about hypnotherapy is a therapeutic tool,
Mhm.
okay, in order to help someone to overcome something that they wish to change. So that's what hypnotherapy is about.
Yeah.
Okay. So if somebody comes to me for, pain management,
Mhm.
you know, that type of thing. So they came here with that topic in mind.
Right.
So when I go to hypnotize them for pain management, okay, it's and because also hypnotherapy is basically stress management.
Mhm.
It's all stress management, and your pain level is probably brought up from um, from being too stressed. And you also get sick from being too stressed as well.
Yeah.
And so, um, so just me hypnotizing you and doing the progressive relaxation, the first part of taking somebody into hypnosis, that will actually help that person relax the nervous system.
Mhm.
Okay. And and also relax the mind. So they're relaxing the mind and the body at the same time.
Hmm. Because it looks like they're losing control, and I think that's I think why a lot of
People
people
are
get a little
afraid of it.
afraid of it because I don't want to be up there clucking like a chicken, or then all of a
Right.
sudden be walking
Right.
down and I hear some type of word, and I mean this is what goes on in my
Yeah.
mind. I'm sure
Well,
other people do
the
too.
same thing happens with people who are doing that. Like somebody will suggest, why don't you go to this lady who does hypnotherapy or hypnosis? Some people can only be certified as a hypnotist, and some people can be certified as a hypnotherapist. And so, but they can still do the same work, you
Mhm.
know. But at the same time, what happens is that um, so somebody might say, "Oh no, I don't want to go to a hypnotist," you know. And the
Mhm.
reason why they say that is because they're afraid of not being in control. But
Yes.
actually, in hypnosis, you are in control.
Yeah.
Okay. You may like say that, like when I first hypnotize somebody, I only take them into the first three stages.
Mhm.
Okay. And you have control in the first three stages. If you slip into the fourth and the fifth or the sixth, that's when you kind of um, you're taking suggestions like crazy, you know?
Mhm.
So even if you did, if you got into the fourth and the fifth and the sixth stage of hypnosis, you definitely would quit smoking. You definitely would find that you're in a lot less pain or things like that. So the whole aspect of it um, is that um, is that it's about people afraid of losing control, and you're not
Mhm.
losing control.
Yeah.
Because as a responsible hypnotherapist,
Right.
I would never in the first few couple of sessions take them into the therapeutic stages of it. I take them into a progressive relaxation, and then I might do a light thing like taking them to the mirror of their mind.
Mm.
Okay, where uh, it's kind of like guided imagery. Okay, and or not the mirror of the mind, but the chalkboard of the mind. That's my favorite. And
Mhm.
usually I start that way, and I'll tell them all the labels on that chalkboard after I've taken them into hypnosis. All the labels in that chalkboard, okay, are um, are all the things that no longer serve you. Okay. And and because I've had a conversation, a pre-talk with the client, I might know what some of those limiting beliefs are.
Mm.
And I'll might recite some of those so that they see them on that chalkboard. Um, and they can visualize, imagine, and pretend it as well. And so what happens is that I'll turn around and I'll say, now I want you to pick up the eraser and I want you to erase. And remember, this chalkboard is the chalkboard of your mind. Okay. So the chalkboard is your mind. So basically, I'll tell them that you erase all those limiting beliefs and
Mhm.
all those things that limit you that no longer serve you any longer.
Mhm.
And then what will happen is that um, then I'll tell them to pick up the chalk. Okay. And then, and then I'll tell them to write down words. And if they can't figure out what to write, I'll help them and I'll say valuable, confident, skilled. And I'll say like a lot of positive words. And then look at those words. And then of course I'll keep it with whatever genre the person came in to talk about. And then pain free or cigarette free or whatever. Um, and so basically, so then I'll say, now look at those words and notice that, remember that this is the chalkboard of your mind,
Mhm.
the blackboard of your mind, and they are now embedding into your subconscious mind. So I gave them those suggestions. You see how those suggestions um, are put out there,
Right.
and then so that's kind of like the very first one that I'll use, just so that the client can actually see that it's non-evasive,
Mhm.
that they're not out of control,
Right.
and because they're doing the work.
Yeah.
Okay, as I'm giving them the suggestions.
Hmm.
And then I'll take them out of hypnosis and I'll ask them, "Hey, how did you feel? Did you feel nice and relaxed? Did you feel like every part of your body was like melting into the chair and things like that?" And they'll share what they experienced.
Mhm. Because it's pretty wild that how the brain works, and like we have all these negative things that come through our brain. Like
Mhm.
so much of them.
Well, that's because we have the ego.
Right.
Okay, so we have really four parts of us,
Mm.
and it's really about parts. Okay. And and so we have the soul, which is who we really are.
Mm.
Okay. Then we have the spirit, which is the soul's best friend. keep that vessel on track, that
Hmm.
type of thing.
Yeah.
And then we have the higher mind, which is what you really want to work with, because that's heart centered. Okay. And that's all the positive parts of you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then you got the ego, which the ego only knows what it knows from the day that you were born till now.
Hmm.
Okay. And so through the five senses.
Hmm.
So it thinks that it's a real entity
Hmm.
because it's been programmed from the day that it was born till now.
Hmm.
And basically, especially in between the ages of 0 to 13, because from 0 to 7, a child is in the theta state of the mind.
Hmm.
Okay. Which is where a hypnotist likes to get their clients, because they know that once they get the client into a theta state of mind, they'll be sucking up that information like a sponge.
Hmm.
Okay. And then from 7 to 13, they're going into what you call an alpha state of mind. Okay. Give or take a couple of years here and there. And so basically, so what happens is that the alpha state is kind of like, um, why? How come? Do I have to? That you raise kids, so you kind of remember those
Yeah.
stages.
My
And
11-year does it every
right,
day.
yeah, and so the whole aspect of it um, is that they're still learning and they're still sucking up their environment like a sponge. But now they're in school, they're with the different peers,
Hmm.
they're learning from their teachers and other people, and so now and so that's what they're taking into the subconscious mind. And then usually up to about 21, they start acting out in certain behaviors, whatever their environment was, that type of thing. And so hypnotherapy is really good at helping taking people back into childhood to kind of reprogram and help them to overcome some fears that they developed back in those times.
Because I heard it said, and I apologize, I'm repeating this again because I heard it said before that the chatter in your brain that you
Oh
hear
yes, yeah.
is
That's your ego.
yeah, it's your ego, but it might sound like an adult, but it's still your small child that's
Mhm.
talking to you.
It's the inner child.
Yeah, that's probably like around 8.
Right. And
That's happening.
so or and I'm sorry, I didn't actually finish that whole story because I get off on a tangent. You have to redirect me every once in a while. So basically what happens with that is that it's that part of you, okay, is kind of like acting out
Mhm.
as in your adulthood. Okay. And you don't even realize where it's coming from. And you get like these critical thoughts, or you get these rumination
Mhm.
thoughts. I get them.
Yeah.
Intrusive thoughts.
Right.
Intrusive thoughts. Yeah. And so the whole aspect of it is that, and I sometimes I used to get mad at the intrusive thoughts, but
Mm.
now I realize you can't be angry with your ego.
Right.
It doesn't know better.
Right.
Okay. So the intrusive thoughts are the parts that you have to take out of your head, because that's the monkey brain, or the hamster wheel, constantly going over and over in your head of all these negative things. And it can get tricky too. It
Mhm.
can actually start bringing, like when you start recognizing it,
Mhm.
it doesn't like that.
Yeah.
Okay. And so when you start recognizing it, and
Mm.
usually after a few sessions of hypnosis, people start recognizing what's going on in their mind. And then I'm teaching them at the same time how to reframe it and how to work through it. And then so so basically that's what happens, is that part of your brain is just remembering things,
Mhm.
and keeping it just at hypnotherapy and not past life and stuff like that. It's just basically, it's usually the inner child is developed in between 0 and 13, and that's what a lot of people, even psychologists and psychotherapists, are working in their childhood stories, that type of thing,
That
because
makes sense.
because it and my and with hypnosis, and this has nothing to do with the what a psychotherapist or a counselor but the thing is, and I actually have trained some counselors and psychotherapists. Um, uh, the subconscious mind is where the story is.
Right.
Okay.
Wasn't that Carl Jung who said,
Yes.
until you make
Yeah.
the subconscious
Yeah.
conscious, you'll never be free, or
Right.
something along that
Yeah.
line?
Something like that. Yes. And so those are the things that hypnosis is good for, is to help people to break through that. Now, hypnosis is good for a lot of different things, from habit problems,
Mhm.
overeating, under eating. It's good for smoking. It's good for nail biting. A lot of those habit things. And you
Mhm.
only need to get the client into the first three stages of hypnosis in order to help them to overcome a habit.
Mhm.
Okay. Um, Now, when it comes to that point where there is a disassociation of some type of behavior problem,
Mhm.
okay, those are the ones that you have to kind of do some therapy
Mhm.
with, and along with the hypnosis, taking them into hypnosis and work on that inner child.
So, I'm sorry, so if your habits and behavioral issues are different.
Um, they are different in a way
Okay.
because there's something that you programmed yourself into. Like you started smoking maybe when you were 15 years old, or you started eating a lot. You eat a lot of pizza,
Mhm.
like Friday night pizza,
Mhm.
and so it kind of like sticks with you even into adulthood.
Right.
But then as you're getting obese,
It's not helping.
or you're coughing up a lung, things like that, then you have to think about, oh my God, I gotta cut back on this. I have to stop that. And so that's, so the therapy comes in the subconscious mind.
Okay.
So all I have to do is get you into that light stage of hypnosis, and I can actually work with those behaviors.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And then, but now if it is something a little more deeper, I can still help them in a light stage of hypnosis. Because I've had clients that said, don't take me into that funny place, because it feels a little quantum.
Yeah.
And I'll say, okay.
Yeah.
but the thing is that they love the relaxation,
Right.
because 99% of our illnesses and is coming from stress related situations.
Right.
Okay. So basically it's about the how the emotions the emotions that you're carrying.
Mhm.
So if you're constantly in a battle in
Mhm.
your mind or in your body, then it's going to, mainly in your mind, it's going to affect your body.
That's funny that you had said about gerbil wheel, because I didn't even know that, but that's what I always used to tell my wife. She's like, "What's going on with you?" Running the gerbil wheel.
Yeah.
Just running the gerbil
The
wheel.
thing just keeps on going and going and going. And so, and then and also keep in mind that once you go to a hypnotist, we teach you self hypnosis.
Yes.
Okay. So that way you can work on that problem yourself
Right.
by just taking yourself into that light stage of
Mhm.
hypnosis. So basically and it's real simple. You just taking 3 deep breaths. Make
Mhm.
sure that that breath is slow, that exhale is real nice and slow, that you can feel the body nicely relaxed. And then, you say, I relax my head. If you tell your head to relax, guess what? Your head's going to relax. Okay. And then you go to big body parts when you're doing
Mhm.
self hypnosis. And then I relax my shoulders. Well, a lot of your tension is stored
In
in
your
your
shoulders.
shoulders. And then when then you tell yourself, I relax my chest, I relax my stomach, I relax my back, and I relax my legs and
Mhm.
my hands and feet. And so it's that simple. You just go from the top of your head down to the tips of your toes. And then and so by that time you're feeling nice and calm and relaxed.
Mhm.
And that's when you can say like 10 affirmations. You can even open up your eyes a little bit and read those 10 affirmations that
Mhm.
you written out for yourself. And then you take a nice deep breath and you come back up out of it, just get on with your merry way. So that was like a really quick couple of minutes that you spent on yourself
Hmm.
to help yourself overcome something that you've been dealing with. And I teach that to my clients.
Nice. Uh, what, what is going on in the brain when hypnosis is taking place?
Um, it's actually calming down. Okay. It's coming into the now moments.
Hmm.
Okay. So when you get into that part of the now moments, okay, most of the time where if you're depressed, you're living in the past. If you are anxious, you're living in the future. Okay. And so when the Eckhart Tolle is real good for this,
Mhm.
teaching the now and the power of now. And so basically, so what happens is that if you can learn to stay in your present moment, and it is a practice, it's not something that you can just do all the time.
Right.
And so, especially if you are depressed or if you are anxious,
Mhm.
and I get a lot of clients that have anxiety.
Mhm.
Okay. Um, so the whole aspect of it is that um, I tell them, go do your dishes because Eckhart Tolle taught this. Okay. Pick up the dish, wipe it, say it while you're doing it in your mind. Okay. I'm picking up the dish. I'm washing the dish. I'm rinsing the dish. I'm putting it in the strainer. Okay. So that you realize that you're practicing being in the presence of what you're doing at that moment. And eventually, if you do things like that, if you're doing a project, you stay focused on that project. Okay. And if you find yourself wandering, you come back to that project. And so a lot of ADHD, that's good for people with ADD and ADHD, learning how to be that. Because I'm actually not diagnosed, but um, I had, I have ADHD, and that's why I wander off. But you could have 8 different projects going on at the same time.
Right.
But when I get in my now moments, I can get a project done. And so it's just teaching you how to get into that now moment. And then so you could have somebody hypnotize you to be in that. And that's what hypnosis does, is it actually puts you into that now moment. Focus on my voice.
Mhm.
Um, uh, Allow yourself to focus on what I am saying and things like that. So there's certain keywords that I would use in order to help them to stay centered with what I'm doing instead of them going off in a daydream. And when somebody's anxious, it's basically another thing too. Get into the present moment. Look at your hand. Look up at the lights. You know, um, what do you hear around you? It's a basic psychology type thing to where they just tell you to start using your senses. What do you smell? Things like that, and that'll take you out of that anxiety. And so basically, you can do that even or make those suggestions in hypnosis so that it becomes more of a prominent understanding, because then the subconscious mind is taking
Right. You don't understand what you're doing to it, but it is taking in the
It's taking
information.
in the suggestion, okay, and so of whatever I write as a script,
Mhm.
okay, and then all of a sudden you find yourself being in more of your now moments and not so scattered all over the place,
Mhm.
with thoughts and that monkey mind and things like that.
Mhm.
So yeah, so it actually helps with being in the present moment, and with hypnosis does take you into the present moment.
Well, you take any of the ancient um, divine books, and they all talk about being in the present.
Right, and with meditation, yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
because meditation and hypnosis are a little similar, okay?
Yeah.
The difference between meditation is, kinda like, the same principles, but you don't do therapy, you're just you're just calming down your body and your mind enough in order to be able to have a Zen moment or find God, you
A
know?
come to Jesus moment.
Right. And hypnotherapy is about reprogramming.
Oh man. Now, I know when I was going over some things um, about being disassociated from something and how you, I don't know if I'm saying this right.
I'll say it and I'll figure it out.
Yeah. Because when I associate disassociation, I think of someone who's been some traumatic event or something, and
Right.
that they have a
Okay.
disassociation.
Okay. So one thing about hypnosis does disassociate you from the problem.
Okay.
Okay. But if somebody is mentally ill, I
Mhm.
don't usually work with them
Right.
without them talking to their psychologist
Yeah.
first. Um, Only because I did learn a big valuable lesson, and it is it's something I teach people too. Is that um, the thing is that it's like schizophrenics or bipolar disorder and things like that. Um, they disassociate themselves in real life.
Mhm.
Okay, so the whole aspect of it is that um, what I usually will say, don't don't hypnotize somebody who has a mental illness. You can help them to work on traumas, but I'm real easy on that too,
Mhm.
because because I will always work with the emotions, because I call so there is to get to that, we're working on like the mental, it's the physical, the mental, the emotional, and spiritual aspect of somebody. Okay, so the physical part is that emotionally you've gotten so sick that you came to get something healed.
Right.
Okay, so so I'll work with the emotions, okay, that created that. So there is a skill, like if you read the book Ask and It Is Given from Esther Hicks, she has a scale of positive emotions and negative emotions, and how, and I think Carl Jung also had that.
Mhm.
And so basically, when you are living in nothing but negative emotions, okay, and negativity is all around you because you're attracting that to you.
Mhm.
That's the law of attraction.
Right.
Yeah. It was with the law of attraction, you attract what you're thinking all the time.
Yes.
Okay. So how whatever story is going in your head, you're attracting that to you.
Mhm.
Okay. So in order not to attract all that chaos and all that those troubles that you're dealing with, okay, it's kind of like taking yourself into that nice place, that quiet Zen place, just in hypnosis alone and working on all those issues where why you attracted those people. Because
Uh,
usually if you attracted it, it's something that you have not worked on in your childhood, coming from your childhood. Traumas, that's what we were talking about, the
yes. Yes.
physical,
Yes.
mental, emotional, and
Mhm.
spiritual. Okay, so I start with emotions. Okay. Now I call the mental mind the Pandora box. Okay. I do not open that um, just to open it.
Right.
Okay. What I do is I'll work slowly with emotions, and I have this system where there was a couple of different workshops that I worked on, and one of them was called emotion coding, and and so I learned about all the emotions, and so what I do is I take the person into hypnosis and say that um, it, and then say that they're really sad or something like that. And so what I'll do is I'll take those emotions that they tell me that they have, and then I'll in hypnosis, I'll say a mantra like, I now release, and I want them to say it back to me in their mind. Okay, not out loud, but in their mind. I now release from every cell of my body, my heart and my mind, and my subconscious mind. See how I'm hitting all areas? Um, all negative thoughts and
Excuse
negative,
me.
that's all right, and negative
Mhm.
memories of, so let's just say, um, grief,
Mhm.
okay, which is a low vibrational energy.
Mhm.
Okay, so 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 basically, what happens, and I'll say to them within 10 seconds, a story is going to come up to your head that has something to do with grief. Now take a nice deep breath and blow that out. Okay. So that they're blowing out, and I usually continue it with some spiritual stuff, like the benevolent beings are capturing it and healing it and that type of thing. So anyway, so so even if they just breathe it out, okay, they're releasing that story in their head. Okay. And so that way it's kind of like a slow backdoor way of getting into the traumas.
Mm.
Okay. Without going into the trauma, because then they could have an abreaction. Okay. So I don't want to, I can handle an abreaction, but I'm careful with that. So when I'm doing regression therapy,
Mm.
okay, I've already seen that client for a while. I
Right.
do not do regression therapy until I've seen that client for a while and I know that they trust me and that they are ready for it and things like that, because that way they're less likely to have an abreaction to go into that mental mind, which is the trauma that's stored in that Pandora box, and then we can start working through forgiveness, compassion, all of those high vibrational energies, and then work through it that way.
Is that kind of like transference? Like if you take someone deep, that they can think that like that has something to do with you.
Um, you mean like a false memory?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, that's called
Thank you.
yes. Okay. So yeah. So say that I took somebody into a regression and they think that maybe they were molested as a child,
Mhm.
or something like that. They can't understand why they feel the way they do, and they go in there and sometimes they might pick out a story in their mind, okay, that is their uncle touched them in the wrong place,
Mhm.
maybe when they were like 4 or 5 years old or 6 or 7, or they um, and so they think that they might have been molested, and so it really is the therapist that needs to be very careful about those false memories. Okay. And um, so the whole aspect of it is that, and will always tell my client when, if they ever come to that place, um, is that I say, sometimes when we're young, we have a way of making up stories in our mind.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so it could feel like it's more elaborate. So maybe your uncle maybe have kissed you on the lips, okay, out of an endearment, but then later on in your life, you were taught that that's a bad thing, or you learned about child molestation, and all of a sudden you're thinking that way. So I always responsibly talk to my client when they come up with something like that. And I said, well, let's work on, okay, the feeling of why you're here.
Mhm.
Okay. And so that you feel good about yourself.
Mhm.
And then so we'll work on things like because maybe that they came to me because they're having a hard time with their relationship,
Mhm.
and all their relationships are bad,
Mhm.
or they don't like having sex or something like that. And so I don't go into regression until we have worked thoroughly with emotions.
Wow. That's
That's
really
the
wild.
therapy part of hypnosis.
Okay.
Yeah.
So which is way different. So hypnotherapy
This is
is quite a bit different than just
Yeah.
like stage
Hypnotherapy is
hypnosis.
going, yeah. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. Hypnotherapy is just kind of you know, uh,
A
like,
guided tour.
yeah, yeah, of the subconscious mind. But actually, what happens too is that the client will never go anywhere it's not comfortable
Okay.
in hypnosis.
Mhm.
So, you can't be hypnotized against your will.
Mhm.
Okay. You've got to want to be hypnotized. Okay. So the whole aspect of it is that if I try to take them someplace and they're not going to be comfortable with it, um, then um, then I will bring them back to where they're comfortable and that type of thing, because you don't want to be irresponsible,
Right.
because I've done some like past life regression therapies, and and I've had abreactions in group sessions where I've had to go over there and kind of like, just let them know that I'm there. And then, so I've learned from trial and error throughout the 30 years that I've been doing hypnosis.
Well, that makes sense because anything you do when you first start doing it, you're not great at it.
Right. Yeah. Everything.
Everything.
And like the National Guild only teaches really, um, uh, I felt like I only was taught the bones
Mhm.
of hypnosis. And when you so what I do is I teach them what the National Guild wants me to teach them, but then I also teach my own experiences in order to help my students to see that there's more to it than just the bones, you know. And of course I learned through trial and error. I was very lucky though because I was so into hypnosis. Like, because when I started uh, studying hypnosis and taking the courses, um, I quit smoking through it. And I started feeling better. And I started sleeping better. And I started, um, uh, because I took it probably because I was a sad person, you know?
Yeah.
I had a lot of problems when I was younger. And just like any psychologist or anybody else, they usually go into those fields in order to heal themselves. But the thing is that was so uncanny is that I had a friend who owned an urgent care center and he had me come in and do addiction therapy
Mhm.
in his center. Uh, and um, and I started noticing that there were clients coming to me. That's the law of attraction.
Mhm.
Okay. Coming to me. And I'm sitting there like, oh, wow, that's a similar thing.
Mhm.
Like I've gone through that. So I relate to the client. And I do. I've been there, done that. I felt it. I won't say that to them, but I know how they're feeling. Sometimes I'll tell them my own stories and how I healed from it so that they feel like they're not alone in the whole situation.
Mhm.
And so this the so that is all part of being a hypnotist.
What are what are
Uh,
what are the main reasons I'm curious that people want to become a hypnotherapist
um
that come to you?
they feel the need to well, one thing is that um you can practice as a certified hypnotherapist and it costs a lot less than college.
Yeah.
Even though I did go to college
Yeah.
because I wanted to be a better hypnotist,
Right.
I also went to, and I've taken a lot of workshops on, like, because during my time, I was born in the 50s. So during my time, you couldn't find this stuff as openly as it is
My
today.
God, no.
Yeah, and so any workshop that I could find that was on something, I did a lot of reading, I did a lot of searching, things like that. I read like even my teachers told me, study Gestalt, study Sigmund Freud, study all of these major gurus,
Mhm.
and that'll help you to be able to help your clients. So, and I did. I read a lot of books.
That was interesting when I was doing the research for this. I never realized that the word mesmerize comes from Frank Mesmer.
Right, yeah, Mesmer.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of like the one that we talk about because I do talk about the history of
Uh,
hypnosis. Um, and so basically, Mesmer was a very flamboyant person.
mm,
Okay, back in those days when I think his name was Anton Mesmer, or I think the
Friends.
Franz Mesmer. So anyway, and that's where mesmerism comes from, the word mesmerism. And so he was like, and he studied off of this guy called Father Hell of all names. But each person that every person down the list of all the people all the way down to from James Braid to like during the Civil War, using hypnosis to cut off people's legs and
Mhm.
stuff like that. So Mesmer was kind of like a very flamboyant person, and what he did was he would come out in all these silk robes, like with the dunce hat thing on there, and because it was back in his day,
Right.
like Merlin, the type
Mhm.
thing situation, and then so he would capture their attention.
Mhm.
Okay, and back in those days, there was a lot of hysteria in women.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so women would come to him in hysteria. And so he would put them all like in this vat, like a bathtub type,
Mhm.
huge bathtub. And he believed that the universe would heal them uh, through these iron bars.
Yeah.
Okay. And he believed it too.
Mhm.
But remember, it's the power of suggestion.
Right.
Okay. And he got these people to believe that if you hold on to this bar, okay, you are healed. It's the
Mhm.
same concept as going to like one of those holy roller churches.
Right.
Um, no, no judgment. You know what I'm
No.
saying? And so
Or like
basically,
faith healing.
yeah, that faith
Faith
healing.
healing.
And you go in there and they talk real slow and quiet, and then the pastor will get louder and louder, and then you hear amen, amen.
Mhm.
You tell them blah blah blah, and it gets really loud. And then all of a sudden, the pastor says, "Whoever wants to get healed, come on up here in a line." Right? And
Mhm.
he'll go up there and he'll go, "Boom." Like on the forehead and say, "You're healed," and they'll go like this,
Uh,
and then all of a sudden, "I'm healed,"
yeah.
that type of thing. So so that was like Mesmer in some
Yeah.
way,
Yeah.
only in his day and age,
Mhm.
and a lot of those people, they would flail and be screaming and stuff like that, and then but what happens is that they're letting go of the aggression of
Mhm.
being held back. A lot of women were held back by their husbands,
Right.
and they couldn't speak their truth, and they just were always afraid and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So they would get into these bouts of hysteria. And of course, it was taken care of in different ways back in those days, but
Mhm.
that was one of the things that they did. And then, of course, in every generation, there was somebody coming in to change hypnosis because it became such a study,
Mhm.
you know, and all these fields, even psychology, because psychology is even young.
Yeah.
Psychology is about 200, maybe 200 years or 250
Mhm.
years. And and even with Sigmund Freud, when Sigmund Freud came along, he saw the uh, the the power of hypnosis,
Mhm.
and he liked using it. But the only problem back in Sigmund Freud's time, it's all about survival.
Mhm.
Okay, and Mesmer died as a pauper, by the way, and
Oh,
so
really?
yeah, and so the whole aspect of it is that um, uh, the when Sigmund Freud came along, he was a psychoanalysis.
Mhm.
He developed psychoanalysis.
Right.
Okay, so and a lot of people came to him for psychoanalysis, but when he started hypnotizing them, people were getting healed
Mhm.
and stuff like that. And so, um, but the whole aspect of it is that people didn't like hypnosis. They
Mhm.
didn't like the concept of it and stuff like that. So in order for him back in those days, um, your prestige
Mhm.
um, uh, is what is how you got fed.
Right.
You know, it wasn't about the money; it was about your prestige,
Right.
who you hung around with, and
Mhm.
stuff like that. So, so basically, those people that he hung around with, maybe have scoffed it and stuff like that. I mean, there's a big story behind him, and so he actually stuck to psychoanalysis. But he had a lot to teach us. He had a lot to teach us about the brain, about sexuality, all kinds of different things that we didn't know before that we actually use in in therapy.
That's interesting. I think it was Mesmer that all the other practitioners in the area that didn't do hypnosis got irritated with him and kind of like shunned him and
Yeah,
turned hypnosis into a bad thing
right.
or conceptually.
Every hypnotist has every hypnotist has gone through that from one generation after another. They have gone through, it seems like it rises and it falls.
Mhm.
It rises and it falls. And if you go back into the history of it, and so it's never really stuck. But I think now with the new age coming up and where people are more, they need more. They see that how because that's just like psychology. Okay, psychology is constantly growing.
Mhm.
Hypnotherapy, they're already using parts of hypnotherapy in psychology, but through
Yeah.
guided imagery and creative thoughts and things like that. And relaxation techniques. So the whole aspect of it is that, so I get excited. Like right now I have classes coming up in March, starting a new set of classes in March for hypnotherapy. And I got 4 people coming, and one of them are works in addictions.
Mm.
And so in my mind, I'm sitting there like, oh wow, this is so awesome because, you know, it's just another avenue of helping people uh um move out of their fear-based world,
Mhm.
and that's what it is. It's all fear-based, uh a fear-based world.
Mhm.
So and then I've also worked with a couple of um psychother- psychotherapists, I think they are, um, and a couple of counselors in this town,
Mhm.
throughout the years. But I've also been living in many different states and
Right.
worked with other people in different states as well. So
See, that was the other part I wanted to get to is um, how hypnosis can help. But we've covered a lot of
yeah,
that.
in a way, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Hypnosis to me is a therapeutic tool that actually helps people to overcome areas that they're trapped in from their subconscious mind, which is the ego mind. Okay, the subconscious and the ego seem to feed off of one another, and so the more positive things that you can um, uh, uh, help the client with, so if they're in hypnosis, you're training the subconscious mind. So there's a little diagram that I usually teach people is that if you take a square, okay,
Mhm.
and then there's a little square to the left,
Mhm.
okay. Now, so here in the middle, okay, is the subconscious mind,
Okay.
okay. The conscious mind is down below the box. The superconscious mind is above the box, and that little tiny box is the critical mind. Okay. So if your conscious mind repeats something over and over, good or bad, over and over and over in the conscious mind, in the cognitive mind, okay, it goes into that little critical factor box, fills it up, okay, and then all of a sudden it gets so filled up that it has to trickle into the subconscious mind. You see, into the box. Okay. And in sacred geometry, I teach a little bit of this too. And so, because we're all stuck in a box. so, so the whole aspect of it is that then what we do is, but when, what, and so the, so basically, so what we do is when we use hypnosis, we're bypassing the critical mind, that little box, and going straight into the subconscious mind. Okay. In order to reprogram how their limiting beliefs, okay, into a more positive. So I could sit there and just say a whole bunch of positive affirmations, okay, that have to do with whatever they're coming in for, and and it in time, okay, and repetition. That's why you teach them self hypnosis. Um, then eventually that will become a reality to them, and it's just kind of like the same thing with um it's like just all of a sudden it just starts happening, okay, to them. And like good things start happening to them because their subconscious mind is now taking it as a belief system
Now, see, interesting
and
question here
feeding it
for you.
to the ego.
Right. Now, is it more helpful, especially for your mammalian brain and where we get our thoughts from,
Mhm.
because the mammalian brain doesn't understand language. And so with affirmations, is it better to use visualization along
Yes,
with them?
guided imagery is always in hypnosis.
Right. Okay.
Okay, yeah, you're always using guided imagery,
Hmm.
and that is, EFT. I learned that when I studied EFT,
Hmm.
emotional freedom release, and, oh, no, I'm sorry, not EFT, neuro linguistic programming,
Okay.
NLP. Yeah, and, so I took up those classes too in order to become a better hypnotist.
Yeah.
So so when you become a hypnotist, you just don't stop. You're
Right.
constantly learning and growing just like in any other practice.
Hmm.
You're always learning. Now I'm in my retirement age, like
Hmm.
um I've slowed down compared to what I used to be able to do. And so I do it because I love it,
Hmm.
okay? But I pace myself now. And and I mainly am just kind of like word of mouth more so unless I'm teaching a class. And because um you know, I need to take care of me too, you know.
Absolutely. No, is it? I'm curious because I'm very interested in energy and things like that.
Mhm.
And does that take a toll on you to do that?
Um, well, because I'm a holistic practitioner, I also work a lot in the spiritual self.
Hmm.
Okay. And I may talk to my higher mind. Okay. My
Hmm.
higher mind is my heart, like, and I'll say higher mind, or Archangel Michael.
Hmm.
Okay. Put a shield around me before I see this client, because I know that this client might be coming in with a lot of negative energy.
Hmm.
Okay. And so usually that works pretty good. Um, but also an empath,
Hmm.
and it's very difficult for me to not be able to take on somebody else's emotions.
Hmm.
And because the thing is that being an empath, you're almost like a mind reader. And what happens is that, um, like in 10 minutes, I know what I have to do with that client, just through the conversation, because I could feel them at
Hmm.
the same time. Now, that's why I need to slow down and stuff like that, because I don't have that. Sometimes it's hard to keep that shield up, especially if you're doing like 4 or 5 clients a day,
Yeah.
you
That.
know. And so now I have a system where I don't take any more than 3. I'm happy with 1 or 2
Hmm.
and a day. And then only because I've learned about myself
Hmm.
and what sensory modality I'm strong at. And I am one of those empaths that actually um heal other people in their presence, because um it's almost like I take it on.
Hmm.
You know, like I could be, sometimes that's not even good when I doing
Yeah.
Reiki, because I'll take it on. But, your body will eliminate it though. Okay. And I learned a lot of lessons, from from being that empath, is that especially COVID taught me a big lesson, because I would work with people who had cancer and things like that, and they'd go home feeling better, and I'm like, oh, I'm like totally exhausted, and I and then of course that psychic part of me, the intuitive part of me, understands that, hey, you're taking on their stuff,
Right.
you know?
Mm.
So you do have to be prepared in your day, in order to, you should drink a lot of water as a therapist. You should make sure that you're rested. Don't take on anything that you don't want to take on that day. Even if you feel like you have to reschedule. And the reason why is because you want you want to be right for them, as they're coming in, because you're focused in the present moment on that client's needs. And that makes a great therapist, to be able to make that person feel like they're important, because they're coming to you because they don't feel important, or they feel like their lives are out of control. And so I have had to learn how to take care of me, and So sometimes when things aren't going perfect in my life, then I don't want to be in that state of mind as I'm working with a client, so basically, and sometimes I do because I can't cancel, but I put myself in the present moment for that client, at that time. So and then I say, archangels, come to me and help me make this happen, and so basically I do a lot of spiritual work on myself.
That makes sense too.
Yeah.
Um, is everyone hypnotizable?
um uh yes and no. Okay. Usually, um somebody he can be skeptical. I've had a lot of people come to me and say, I don't think I can be hypnotized. And I said, well, let's check it out. Okay. And so first of all, they have to want to be hypnotized. Okay. And they would not pay their money to me if they didn't want to be hypnotized.
Right.
Right. So that is a power of suggestion right there.
Right.
Okay. And and so so um and then so what happens is that um they might get in their head in that first session,
Mm,
but it's my job to get them in the now. It's
mhm,
my job to get them into a relaxed state of mind and body. So even if they don't take, like, say that I take them to the beach,
mhm,
okay, because that's how I relax their mind. I'll take them into a scenario, okay, and I'll take them to the beach and I'll have them go through their five senses, visualize and imagine the beautiful blue sky,
mhm,
okay, and just smell the ocean air, and allow yourself to hear the seagulls calling out to one another and the children playing in the distance and things like that. And um, so the thing is that quiets down the mind, because then they're using their senses in order to focus on those areas of being quiet, being someplace. And so that is one of the parts that help them to get there. But you may have somebody who just, and it's very highly unlikely, um, because why would they pay to come to you time after time after time?
for nothing.
Yeah. But then again, I'm a good talker. They love listening.
You have a hypnotic voice,
I
Terry.
do have a hypnotic voice. I have clients that say, all I have to do is think about you and I relax. I hear your voice. And my teacher told me I had a good hypnotic voice.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Did we cover everything?
I think
We
we
hit
covered a good amount of
amount.
what hypnosis
Yeah.
is. And so it's basically it's a relaxed state of mind and body, similar to daydreaming. You cannot do anything against your will. If I told you to go rob a bank for me,
Mhm,
okay, because I want to go to Scotland,
mhm,
my favorite place,
mhm,
and if you're not a criminal, okay, and you're in hypnosis, you'll just open up your eyes, or you'll just pretend you're in hypnosis because it'll bring you up. Like,
mhm.
what did you just say to me? Because it went against your beliefs and your values. Okay,
Ah,
you can't do
okay.
anything against your own beliefs and your values in hypnosis.
Hmm,
Okay. And so basically that's one thing. Having a good attitude about hypnosis when you come in, okay, makes the best results. Okay. But if you're just saying, oh, I don't, like if somebody else told you to go get hypnotized and you didn't
mhm,
really want to, but
right.
you went because they said it. And I see that in a lot of smokers, like the
Mhm,
doctor tells them to go, or
yeah,
their wife tells them, or their children tells them. They have to want to.
right.
Okay. So it's about, have a good attitude about it, and realize that, hey, this is a tool that can really work for me. Then that will actually help them to get the progress that they're looking for. But otherwise, a good percentage, I would say a good 90% of the people that come to you are hypnotizable. They don't have to go into a deep hypnotic state to be hypnotized.
Right.
Yeah.
Huh, huh. And with that, now, if you're on audio, you might want to go to YouTube or Spotify so that you can actually see this because Terry is going to hypnotize me. I have
Oh, that's
never
right.
been
Yes.
hypnotized before. I'm not sure how this will work out with the headphones and the mic, but
I think you'll be fine. You'll
you
be
should be
fine.
fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I can leave the
Yeah. You
headphones
can.
on,
Yeah. I'll just
but
have
I'll
you sit
turn.
back. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't even have to look at me. Just sit back.
Okay.
Yeah. Just sit back and then have your back up against, put your feet on the bottom of the chair. And your feet should always be flat on the floor or just flat out. It doesn't matter, just so that you're comfortable. Um, so now just take a nice deep breath. And then just slowly let that breath out. Let go of all the aches, the pains, the tensions, the worries, and the stresses of the day. And take another nice deep breath and just let go. And one more deep breath now. In and out. And notice how your body begins to relax from the top of your head to the tips of your toes. And just relax. Visualize, imagine, or pretend that there is a soothing sensation around you. And the soothing sensation is about to relax your whole body from the top of your head to the tips of your toes. And a lot of times, all you have to do is just think about relaxing a certain body part, and it'll automatically relax. So relax the top of your head. Focus on the top of your head, where your crown is, and allow yourself to feel that quiet sensation at the top of your head. And feel that relaxation coming down to your forehead, to the bridge of your nose, relaxing your eyes, coming down into your cheeks, into the back of your jaw, and separate the back of your jaw ever so slightly. A lot of tension is stored in this area. And now feel that relaxation going into your temples. And all you have to do is just think about relaxing the temples, and they will relax. And feel that relaxation going down into the front of your neck and into the back of your neck, soothing out the lining of your throat. And now that relaxation goes down into the sides of your neck, going down into your shoulders, and just feel your shoulders relax as your arms relax, your elbows, your forearms, your wrists, your hands, and your fingers. It's almost like your guardian angels is standing behind you, just taking the weight of the world right off of your shoulders. And it feels so good. And you take a deep breath. And now exhale into your chest, relaxing your chest, your lungs, the upper back. And you take another deep breath and you relax your stomach muscles and your lower back. And allow yourself to focus on your sits bones and your thighs, your knees, your shins, your calves, your ankles, and your feet and your toes. And your whole body is more relaxed than it was a moment ago. Just relax and allow yourself to focus on the back of your neck where your brainstem meets your spinal column. And feel this sensation going down your spine, relaxing every muscle, every nerve, every fiber, every cell coming down your spinal column. And there's these little neurons in your spinal column that goes into every organ in your body. Just visualize and imagine that these these this feeling of relaxation is now lighting up all the cells in your body, creating your body to become well, oxygenating your whole body. And as you're relaxed in this manner, allow yourself to visualize and imagine or pretend that you're standing at the top of the steps of a boardwalk near this beautiful beach. And this beach could be any place that you wish it to be, or maybe someplace that you've been be, that you've been before. And now I'm going to count from 10 to 1. And with each number, you're going to take a step down those steps of the boardwalk, leading you onto the beach. 10, take your first step, going deeper and deeper into relaxation. 9, deeper and deeper relaxed. 8, just letting go as you're stepping down. 7, 6, 5, deeper and deeper. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Deeper, deeper, deeper relaxed as you step into the sand and you begin walking towards the beach. And you look up at the sky, and it's a beautiful blue sky with white billowy clouds just gliding across the sky. You can hear the birds calling out to one another, the children playing in the distance. You can feel the sand warm fit your feet, the warmth of the sand. You can feel the warmth of the sun over your shoulders, but then there's a nice cool mist air coming right across, making it the perfect temperature for you from the ocean. You can smell the sea air and you can taste the salt maybe on the tip of your tongue or in your lungs. And it's just a beautiful, perfect day. And you just lie there, or maybe on a towel or on a lawn chair, listening to the surf as the waves come in and out. A perfect day. And you feel so relaxed, so calm, so peaceful. And now your subconscious mind is opened up to take in the beneficial suggestions I'm about to give you. Every day, in every way, you are better and better and better. Negative thoughts and negative suggestions have no influence over you at any mind level. Matter of fact, every time that you allow yourself to focus on an area in your body and you breathe into that body that might have a pain in it, it becomes lighter and lighter and lighter. And eventually, your subconscious mind will give you suggestions on how to heal it. Anything in your life that you wish to change from here on out that seems to be limiting. Your subconscious mind also knows those the way to unlimit those areas of your life that no longer serve you. And you can begin the process by saying good things to yourself, being in gratitude, being in compassion and forgiveness. So now as you're relaxing on the beach. I'm going to count from 1 to 5. And when I reach the number 5, you'll open your eyes feeling wonderful, feeling refreshed. You'll notice that you have a good night's sleep tonight. Your body will feel better, more calmer, more relaxed. Your mind will be less occupied on negative thoughts or gerbil thoughts. And overall, you'll just feel so much better. 1, every day in every way, you feel better and better. 2, you are the creator and the master of your own mind. Allow yourself to begin creating and all the things that create joy within you. 3, take a nice deep breath and let the body start to come back to the here and now. There you go. And 4, wiggle your fingers a little bit, your toes. And 5, open your eyes wide awake, feeling refreshed and wide awake, ready to get on with your evening in a different mindset.
I'm curious about something.
Okay, you go for it.
My hip's a lot better than it was.
You're able to stand up without a lot of pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could stand up.
Yeah. Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah, because we've been there for a little bit. I was like, oh man,
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God,
Yeah,
I
you
wonder
get
if I'll
stiff.
even be able
Yeah,
to
you get stiff.
get
Yeah.
up.
Mhm. Yeah, and so the thing is that 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 was just a light stage of hypnosis. Could you so when I started talking your body parts down, could you feel those parts starting to relax?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So and did you by the time we got down to your feet, did you feel like
Yeah.
like you knew that you're getting to a place that was a lot better than before?
Yeah. My
Okay.
body was not as tense.
Okay. Could you feel that pain in your hip escalate?
No.
Okay, good. Okay. Sometimes when somebody comes in with a headache, it'll escalate, but then it'll decrease a little bit. So, um, and then, so when we got to the part where, um, going to the beach,
Mm.
okay, could you see the ocean?
Yeah.
Could you see the blue sky? Could you
Yeah.
see the color?
Yeah. Kind of. Well, it's kind of like whitish. I think it's because of the light.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, but still, I mean, could you see the ocean waves? Could you see the
Mhm.
beach?
Yes.
Could you feel the sand underneath your feet? And could you feel the warmth of the sun and the cool breeze hitting you?
I could feel the sun. I could feel the sand. I didn't really feel moisture.
Okay, that's fine.
But
That's fine. And but you could feel.
Mhm.
So what I'm looking for is the sensory modalities that you're stronger at. Okay.
Okay.
Could you smell the sea air?
Yeah, because that's like one of my
Oh,
favorite scents.
okay. So yeah. So here you go. And so you work better with with um with actually the sense of smell. You
Yeah,
probably smell
actually,
things that other people don't smell.
I said I have a real big thing for smells. A huge thing for smells.
Okay, so that is a strong sensory modality that
Mhm.
you can work with. Okay.
Okay.
Um, and then so you can actually put like a soft um like like a sleepy time chamomile type smell, and that'll help you to relax more around you.
Mhm.
You see, mediums depend on those types of things like the five senses in order to be able to read other people.
Mhm.
So you can develop these things as
Mhm.
well. And then there is how about the part where um, you can taste the salt on your tip of your tongue or in your lungs.
Yeah, I could definitely do that because I love the ocean, so it wasn't hard to relate to at all.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So So, and usually as a hypnotist, I want to take you someplace that you love being in
Yeah. Yeah. Because
because
I
it
can
calms
remember.
down the mind, doesn't it?
Ah, it does. It
Yeah,
does. Because
it
that's how the ocean does for me. It just
calms you down.
calms me down.
Yeah. And see, I'm not an ocean person. I'm more of a person in the woods or
Yeah.
in the you know, that type of thing. I'm just um I just don't like water.
Well, that's ironic because I don't swim very well in
I
deep
don't
water.
swim at all. Yeah. So so basically, but then again, ocean waves, listening to ocean
Yeah.
waves will calm down your nervous system.
Mhm.
Okay. So that would be something that you would do. And then visualization, it was hit and miss, like
Mhm.
you kind of like imagined it more than you saw it.
You're exactly right because I am not very good with visualization.
Yeah. So that's with the way you described it to me. I said, oh, well, because one of the things I say is a suggestion: visualize, imagine, or pretend.
Mhm.
Okay. And the reason why is because not everybody has that capability of being visual.
Yeah.
Okay. And then auditory. Did you hear the birds calling out to one another?
Yeah.
Okay. And see, I'm more dominant in my feelings
Mhm.
and my hearing. Okay. So I have to read out loud to retain what I read.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Well, most ADHD people have to do that.
Hmm.
Okay. Because their mind will wander. So
Mhm.
when I read out loud, it kind of like keeps me focused.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's really
I have to
interesting.
hear me. Yeah. So, and then I can hear my intuition, my
Really?
higher mind. Yeah. And that's a part of developing things.
Mhm.
It's the development of listening to your higher intuition and things like that.
Mhm.
And um, so I've learned to pay attention.
Mhm.
Sometimes you just ignore those things.
Great. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
Do you notice how
Unfortunately.
calm my voice just got?
Yeah.
Because I hypnotize myself while I'm
Right.
hypnotizing you.
That's very cool.
Okay.
Like, yeah. I'm definitely interested in it. I think it ties in nicely with all the things that we've been discussing on
Yeah,
here lately.
absolutely.
And then so your classes in March, what days are they?
There are 8 weekends, so it'll be March and April, and from 10:30 to about 3, maybe 2 or
Mhm.
3. And, so basically the first 50 hours of training is how to hypnotize,
Mhm.
and then the second 50 hours is implementing what you've learned, uh, um, in hypnosis. So I'll teach you how to work with, smokers and weight management and stress management. And then I'll teach you with pain management. So we're implementing it in a lot of practice.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
so that's, that's the, that's the 100. That would be the other 50 hours.
Okay.
And and then with those 50 hours, because like in 8 weekends, you're not getting actually in online, on time, time in the class, but I also count homework
Okay.
and I love giving out homework.
Are your classes? Do you have classes online also, or?
Yes, actually, I have 3 people coming to me, and then one person's going to be online because she's coming from Maryland.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've taught online. I've taught somebody in Spain. I taught 2 people in Ohio. I taught somebody in Arizona online. And because I just do it a little differently. I have them practice what I teach them and things like that.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Great. Um, what's the best way for them to find the classes? We'll also put a link in the description.
that would
Um,
be nice. I'm also doing these classes in September too. Every
okay.
year I do them in March and September.
Okay.
Okay. So I do them. So in March, people get their social security checks. They can, not social security,
Tax.
income tax.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, so their taxes, and
Mhm.
a lot of people have paid me that way.
Right.
Sometimes they can get paid by the company they work for.
Okay.
Depends on whether it's like what it is.
Mhm.
And then, but otherwise, the classes are like, they're $1,750.
Okay.
And then, and then,
Good. Thanks for not putting you know how when car places don't put the price tag on the window? I hate that
and you have
shit.
yeah, I know. So the thing is that that's how much I charge for my classes, which are
Right.
not a bad price.
No.
And I'm very reasonable, like I do have to have that $350 down payment, but at the same time, because that money goes to the National Guild, that's where you get
Right.
your certificates, your memberships and your books and things like that. And then the rest is mine for teaching. And so sometimes I just won't certify you. So you
Okay.
until you have paid me.
Right.
And so it kind of like so I'm not somebody who is just there for you to. I want everybody to be able to help everybody.
Right.
And let me tell you something. You take a hypnosis training class, it will change your mind. There is not one student I have had that like they don't it changes your life. I'm sorry. It kind of like they've all said this has changed my life. Not to mention that not everybody goes into becoming a practitioner. They may use it for themselves or or, or they just may have used it just to do some type of healing within themselves. So but I've never heard anything negative feedback coming from these classes. So which is awesome. And then so yeah, they can get a hold of me through if they see me on Facebook
Okay.
or
Now, is that just Teri Martell?
it's under Secrets of Healing.
Secrets of Healing. Oh yeah, that's right. Because I have you on
Yeah,
Facebook.
Secrets of Healing, but it's also under I also have my own, which is under Teri Martell.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm wearing a yellow sweater.
And then you how long ago did this book come out?
Okay, we just got this book out. We finished this in 2025, and this is my book, and this is a lot of my workshops. So a lot of my workshops we put into chapters, and then also and we have in my website, which is Secrets of Healing .com. I think it or is .net. Yeah, it's secretsofhealing.net. It's basically I have newsletters in there. So a lot of my newsletters have gone into chapters. I might have embellished more in the book a little bit, but I'll write up newsletters, and then of course the the lady who does my my website, her name is Amber. She actually is awesome. When it came to putting this book together. And then and then she wrote a story in there as well. So so the books are always going to be under mine and Amber's names because she has made this come true for me. So
Right.
it's like I'm leaving my legacies in different ways.
Yeah. And that would be Amber Parisi, and she does what I know she does Reiki.
Oh yeah, yeah. She studied Reiki and hypnotherapy from me.
Oh really? I didn't know
Yeah.
she
Yeah,
did
she's a
that.
certified hypnotist as well, and then she does Reiki. She's taken my astrology classes, I believe, also. So yeah, and also I will be having a lot of classes coming up, and this year I am going to be starting hypnosis wellness classes once a month. And it'll
Okay.
be on a certain topic. Like the very first one is going to be in May, and that one is going to be on. It's going to be like an hour and a half. It's a workshop, $27, and that class is going to be on. The very first one is going to be on self love.
Yeah. That is a great thing.
Which will be in my second book.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'll be a story in my second book, and so basically, and it's a lot of self-esteem, self-worth, because hypnosis is great for that stuff. And then and then I'll be starting new astrology classes after May, and I'll be starting and I'm going to start something new. I'm going to be starting quantum healing classes, and they'll be like once a month so that you can practice what I teach. Things like that.
Yeah. I love quantum.
Yeah, so do I. It's
Quantum
like,
mechanics,
yeah,
neuroscience.
it's just another mind blowing thing out there
Mhm.
that teaches you more about yourself.
All right.
You know that you are more than what you think you are.
You're more than just this bag of bones.
That's right. You
In a skin suit.
right.
And then, oh yeah, I wanted to make sure people know that they could get your book, Secrets of Healing, Yearly Insights, Volume 1.
And if you want one autographed, you can just
I know.
contact me.
Mine is autographed. Thank you very much, Terry. And yeah, I really appreciate that. They can find this on
Amazon and I think
Kindle.
Kindle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Very good. Well, thank you so much for coming. This has been a lot of fun. I hope it's been fun for the audience too. I hope you guys got something out of this.
Oh, I'm sure they did. They just got a hypnosis section.
All right. Thanks, Terry.
You're welcome.
Peace out. My team and I know how valuable your time is. So we wanted to thank you for making Across the Table part of your day. By liking, sharing, and subscribing, you help keep us inspired and motivated to continue creating content for all of our listeners. If you have ideas for the show or would like to be a guest, please contact me via email at james@acrossthetablepodcast.com. That's james@acrossthetablepodcast.com. Thank you.
Pull up a chair, set the world aside. Let's find the truth, we keep trying.